Thanks for staying with us. The calls for Joburg Mayor Kabelo Gwamanda's head in the motion of no confidence against Tshwane Mayor Cilliers Brink have raised questions about how this might impact the GNU, if at all. Now, this week, the Democratic Alliance proceeded with its case against President Cyril Ramaphosa, accusing him of abusing office in his address to the nation ahead of the May elections. Let's explore this further now. Asiphe Mxalisa is a political analyst from the Rhodes University Centre for Postgraduate Studies. Asiphe, I hope it's a better line to you now. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I mean, looking at the developments in Johannesburg, for example, the calls for Kabelo Gwamanda's head, and then in Tshwane, the multi-party government rallying around Cilliers Brink as mayor there, as the ANC caucus submitting an urgent motion of no confidence against him. How is this at all likely to impact dynamics within the government of national unity, given the fact that Al-Jama and DA are part of it?
Thank you very much, Bomi, for that question. What we see, particularly with the GNU, is that the one key issue was not having a framework in terms of what the GNU could look like, because no one, even in the governments and the policy and the constitution, had prepared that we could be led by a government.
All right, it does seem like Asiphe is having struggles there with her connection. Asiphe? All right, that line there is letting us down. So we will try to re-establish connection there with Asiphe a little later on, just to get a sense of, just the dynamics, a look ahead. I mean, you think about the fact that there's local government elections to speak of in about 2 years' time. Does this also put those on shaky ground? And I do see, Asiphe, I can see that you're back.
Thank you very much. Network is not on my side today. But okay. As I was discussing that, the key issue when it comes to government of national unity is negotiations and having stakeholders working together. What we see in Johannesburg in terms of the political landscape is really crippling, because Johannesburg is at the heart of development in South Africa. So the key responses to the political turmoil in Johannesburg is indeed a big test when it comes to the government of national unity. Because the one strong point of entering into this negotiation and into the government of national unity is to ensure that politics do not surpass service delivery. As we all know that the people of South Africa actually voted this government of national unity. So what we see in Johannesburg is a lot of discussions based on particularly business. When you're looking into, it's not about removing people in positions of political power based on service delivery and based on what the people need, but most importantly based on the new regulations, particularly in the contracts that are being introduced. So it's a political play, and it's very saddening that the government of national unity is actually starting off with a political play in the field of politics and government.
So then how does it, further then get impacted? How do we further then see politics, especially when you look at that case by the Democratic Alliance accusing the president of abusing office? They continue, of course, some say it's on principle, but that also does play out in public, possibly in private too.
I mean, a lot of political parties were looking forward to seeing what would be the decision, particularly in the DA, when it comes to the case against the president, especially because the launching of the case was prior to the agreement of the DA working together with the ANC. But the key element is about accountability. And it's very important to lay foundation in the government of national unity, particularly accountability being at the forefront. So that means that the DA has actually been in the right direction in terms of ensuring accountability and efficiency in governments, because the case is actually a legitimate case where there might be an issue of power abuse between the speech that the president did in the presidency as well as what the ANC has been governing, which is the electioneering that is against the policies of the IEC when it comes to ensuring free and fair elections. And as we all know that it is also not just a South Africa and African issue, but a global issue to ensure that elections actually speaks into the government, into the democracy of the state. So that means this case is a case of accountability. However, we cannot shy away from the fact that, and I say this again, that what we're seeing is the politics of power play in the government of national And it actually looks like they're really forgetting who actually decided into this government of national unity, the people, the services, amidst all other issues that South Africa is facing, particularly the economic development, which is very poor. The focus is on personal positions as well as personal politics.
So in light of all of that, there's local government elections, for example, that are coming up in just under 2 years. How much of a test will this also be for the government of national unity, given the political dynamic that you've just described as well?
We've seen with the previous municipal elections that there was a lot of coalitions that were happening in municipalities. What we see with the government of national unity is that local government coalition has actually entered into the national spectrum, or into the national sphere. So we foresee the continuation of those coalitions in municipalities. What is actually triggering is how the politics are playing a part in terms of the metropolitans, and how mayors, as we have discussed earlier, are not actually sticking into the developmental goals of those metropolitan municipalities. With that being said, the people of South Africa are looking. And since 2021, there has been a lot of issues in terms of the mayoral governance in local municipalities. And what we see is that even in the next elections of local government, people will vote in the same line as they have voted this year, where they vote for the government that works, or they vote for the political party that works to actually ensure their services are being delivered and the issues that they are facing in the local government are being delivered. And currently we don't see that at all. What we see is, again, corruption. What we see is, again, party politics that are actually affecting the development of local municipalities. And South Africans are actually participating in politics and public conversations and decision making. And we saw that in the elections of 2024, and we are going to see that in the elections of 2026 as well.
Asiphe, appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you so much. That was Asiphe Mxalisa, the political analyst from the Rhodes University Centre for Postgraduate Studies.